Welcome to the screening room. I'm John Tibbetts. My special guest today, Robin Williams of The World of John Irving's novel, brought to the screen at last by George Roy Hill. You know, Robin, a lot of the advanced publicity on a funny way of looking at life. Actually, you seem to be the only sane core.
Yeah, he's quite serious
to the entire
way of looking
film.
at life. Yeah.
That's kind of a surprise, I guess, to a lot of people out there who associate you with Mork, for you to be the sane element here.
I know, to be like, what's wrong? Is this different, Mr. Millie? Around, but it was
family man.
Yeah.
And your idea of a good time is to go out and sit in the car and watch your kids.
Yeah. So it's people going, that's not the Williams we read about in the Inquirer.
Isn't it a strange world in which we might look at a scene like that as being weird, when actually
it's quite normal.
that's a very beautiful thing?
Yeah, it's a very wonderful thing.
I asked Steve Tessich about the fact that you are seen as a family man so much, yet you're a creative writer. He chose to show you as a family man more. Mm-hmm. He said actually that as a writer you are a family man, because that's where you work.
Right.
Met on that? Yeah.
I think it's, yeah.
Are you the new American husband, staying at home now?
Honey, I'll be back. I think his whole thing about they mentioned that one whole scene that they had just before the big plane, that he's saying that, you know, he writes, this will be where he shops, that he will be working at home, that he's functioning at. The only thing I missed, the one thing I just wanted another scene, they have that initial scene, the early scene of the magic, you know, the writing scene in the beginning. I want to have another scene later on where you see his style changing after he's gone through all you know, the other side. Whereas it's almost like Mark Twain. In his early writing was wonderful writing like Huck Finn, and later on in his life he wrote letters to Earth, you know, a whole different, in which Ellen was a very vitriolic, real intense novel that I would like to have seen something like that, just to kind of show another, you know, how his mind worked in the later life. That was all I think I wanted from, that wasn't there.
Well, it's such a difficult thing to show in a movie the workings of a creative mind.
It's very difficult, because that was the most
writer,
hard,
whoever.
That was the most difficult piece of all that George had, was trying to make that come to life. Because we shot all sorts of different ways and putting it together to how you know, how a man would edit, you know, in his mind as he's writing something, how the tensions of how pulling in things, putting out things, and finally getting a story together, gelling out. How stories will go this way, that way, and then you put in pieces, no, that character doesn't work, you know, this character will fall in love with that character, but that'll lead us off this way.
That was filmmaking progress. That's a tough way, though.
Oh,
you can't discard and select like you can as a
Oh, no,
writer.
because it means shooting extra scenes, and then you get off track, and then it causes you to go back again.
One of my favorite moments in the film is when you discover your pre-disastered house. Wouldn't that be nice if we all could do that?
Pre-disastered house? Where are you living? On a major fault line after. Those people sometimes who live in LA, who live on the mudslide areas and keep coming back and building again. What's wrong? I didn't think it would happen again. It's mud, you. It's going to slide. Oh, hell, why did it happen again? People who live like on like earthquake, and I live in California. I should know. No. How you doing, Robin? How's the house?
It's so characteristic of Garp, though, that he would take this moment of disaster in stride
turn it into a positive. It's like the old joke. There's got to be a pony in there. Come on now.
There are many, many things that author Tessich and director George Roy Hill have done for you that give us images upside down with your neck in a vice while you're wrestling. That's kind of Garp's situation in the world anyway.
Yeah, and to pull out of that, which he does, and to kind of be almost near disaster's edge, and to pull out of it again, or still keep that. Okay, I'm going to get through this, you know.
And apparently you're a wrestler also?
I was in high school, and then I dislocated my shoulder. I was undefeated for 2 years, and then some little kid said, well, we'll fix that.
Nobody works harder than wrestlers, and apparently John Irving knows this as well.
Oh, he wrestled AAU till he was 34, I think.
And I've been talking with a number of other people connected with the movie, all of whom seem to have been wrestlers at one time or another. Yeah. The world is in a hammerlock here of some kind.
People are sad to see. Wrestling, collegiate wrestling, is a very interesting sport. I mean, collegiate wrestling versus people think professional wrestling, or people going like, I'll be there Tuesday, I'll wait for your wrestling. But it's collegiate wrestling is a very grueling sport, and Olympic wrestling too, which is a variation of that, is a very grueling sport. It's 6 minutes in 3 2-minute periods of. I would finish some matches and I couldn't move my hands, because you'd be in these locks, you'd have somebody like this, and you'd be breaking through, and all this locking up and picking up people, and it's like isometric exercises with another man for like 6 minutes, and sometimes you literally, there'd be some lactic acid in your arms. I would have to go, can you open the door for me, please? Thank you. Then you win the match and you couldn't raise your arm. You go, I won, thank you. It's incredible.
I'm wondering how much you identify with something that Garp says in the novel. After writing a novel, he says, everything else seems like a letdown. Now, after making a movie, or after being on television? Are things kind of a letdown for you when you come away from the spotlight like that?
No, they're a recharge for me. It's like performing or doing a film and stuff is an outgoing energy. When I stop, I have to. No, life is not a letdown to me. I still have lots. It's a recharging period for me afterwards. I have to put back in what I've just put out. So I have to either pull back. I'm going away to Europe. It seems like everyone you talk to in this film is, where are you going to be when the film opens? Away. It's like I'm being. I either go to Europe or to. I have a ranch I live on. I stay there for a while. I got to recharge, and then I go back out again.
When you were on the set with Mr. Hill, the director, did he sometimes have to tie you down, so to speak?
Not to tie me down, but just he put certain restraints on it, out of necessity.
Well, for example, were you wanting to improvise a lot?
It was that a little bit, and also he just literally vocally and restrained me in terms of just to slow down. And also I have certain speech patterns even now. Some people say, "Are you English?" No, just pretentious. But I have certain speech patterns, and he had to break those because it can be almost monotone or lilting. I mean, sometimes I would do emotional scenes. I get kind of this. He said I get very breathy, and you say, "No, you got to cut that. Relax. Let your voice sink down." And by doing that, sometimes just by letting your voice sink down, you tap into something deeper. You just by slowing down, by relaxing, something else would come up. It's an emotional process.
I think the more those breaks are applied, the more there's a kind of an intensity inside that comes through.
Yeah, it generated a certain. Some of the scenes are just like this. You know, you're like, let me go. I feel like a little rodeo pony going, come on, man, I want to play. No. But it was necessary. I know why he did it now. At the time, I was going, everybody else gets to play. Everyone gets to do funny scenes, and I had to sit there and react. But it was worth it. I think he did it.
The movie is The World According to Garp, with Robin Williams, directed by George Roy Hill. Robin, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm John Tibbetts. I'll see you next time here in the screening room.